No, I've lived 1,000 lifetimes. For a long time, I wanted to change and get my Green Beret. I didn't want to be average. But as a cook, I'm a rock star.
There's a lot of people that have said that they wouldn't be here where they are in their career if it wasn't for Guy.
Elementary school for me was very picture perfect. Mom, dad, I had 2 younger brothers, and everything was really good. Then everything just fractured. Next thing you know, dad split, and it was just me and, an angry 6th or 7th grader with 2 angry little brothers. We were nightmares for my mom. To the point where she called the police one day and said, I don't know what to do. And they came in, they picked us up, and they're gonna take us to the juvenile detention hall to scare us a little bit. After a few hours, they called my mom, and she didn't answer. About 3 days later, they found my dad, and she had left. So they got hold of my dad, and he came and got us. And that didn't go so well either. My brothers and I ended up off into the foster system. I was bad. I was a terrible kid. I was just going to do what I wanted to do. And so typically I would go to a foster home, and as soon as they weren't looking, I was gone back out the door again. But then I went to a foster home with a military family. They were Army. And they were really the first one that really kind of tried to put a little effort into me, I think. Maybe it was the right time, I don't know. But I responded pretty well. And so I turned things around. And I went back to school, and then I graduated, and then I joined the military. The recruiter said, hey, you lost your seat in physical therapy school, so you have to pick another occupation. And they said cook or mechanic, and I didn't know any. I had stolen some cars, but I didn't know how to work on any, so I was not interested in that at all. So I said, okay, I'll be a cook. When it came time to graduate my occupational training, my security clearance had not finished. So I got stuck here at Fort Lee. It's a holdover. And that ended up actually being a really, really life-changing experience for me, because I got to experience the show that we are here for right now. I got put on detail to wash dishes, and I got exposed to this huge culinary show. And right off the bat, I thought, wow, this is amazing, man. This is so cool. My first duty assignment was Fort Carson, Colorado, and I didn't like it. Don't get me wrong, I love to cook, but we didn't get to do anything but cook. And I wanted to be a soldier too. And then one day I saw, Green Berets on my base. Who are these guys, And then soon after that, I attended a culinary workshop, and there was cooks from that unit. And I went to them, and I was like, hey, what's it like over there? And they're like, we love to jump out of airplanes, and we get to do all this stuff. They brought me back there, and he said, you want to come over here? I said, I want to come over here, definitely. And then the last question he asked me, he said, do you know how to decorate cakes? And I said, sure. I did not. And he said, okay, well, I need someone to do a cake for the grand opening ceremony of brand new Special Forces compound here. If all your scores are as good as you say, and you make this cake for me, I'll get you a letter of acceptance into this unit, and we'll give you a shot. And it took me all night, and I made this enormous double layer sheet cake. And I took that cake over there, and then they took me into the unit. The people I was with, they taught me everything I needed to know to do everything I needed to do. That was one thing I will say that I loved about Special Forces is when there was training, they would close the dining facility, and we'd be included in the training, always. Cold weather, mountaineer, unconventional warfare. Every 2 years, we used to do this guerrilla warfare training. I got to do other stuff, and it was awesome, I was involved with so many training missions, so many real-world missions. Our area of operation was Europe, so I was always in really nice places.
Fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations.
In combat, I never cooked, ever. Really, on both tours in Iraq, I ended up being kind of facilities manager. If something didn't fall specifically under in somebody else's lane or purview, give it to me. So the next thing you know, I'm out. We were doing patrols with Albanian commandos. I would be paired up. For those, at the start, I was paired up with a Green Beret. And we were going and we're doing, mounted and dismounted patrols. We're setting up traffic control points, things like that. One time on patrol, we had just stopped the trucks. We were about to do a dismounted patrol. And I'm standing there, and then I hear, looks like a rock. It's about somebody threw a rock and it hit one of the trucks. I stopped and I looked, and I'm thinking, who's throwing rocks? And I look around, and like the Albanians are gone, and Larry, the Green Beret, he's gone. And I hear, psst, and he goes, "Hey, Sugar Britches." And I look over, they're all hiding behind the truck. And he goes, "Someone's shooting at us." I was so blessed, to be honest with you. 2 tours, and I can count on one hand the number of times that weren't so good. In SF, I saw firsthand what I could do with great food. I could literally change the morale of an entire camp. The power that I had to do that, to make the rain and the mud or the snow be okay. It's what kept me. For a long time I wanted to change and get my Green Beret. And of course all my buddies were just like, "You're one of us anyway, you might as well go do it," and everything, And honestly, what stopped me was I didn't want to be average. Because I was around, the Green Berets are the greatest soldiers in the military, man, in my opinion. They're fantastic. And I thought, if I make it through all that, I'll be lucky to be an average one. But as a cook, I'm a rock star. They started this program called Training with Industry, where they were going to send somebody to the Culinary Institute of America for a year. And he said, "I really think you're the guy for it. The CIA has said that they no longer want to participate in this program, but we're going to send you anyway. So you need to go there and convince them to keep you. Learn as much as you can about both food and education to bring back to the Army, and then be of use to them so that they have value in the program too." A warrant officer named David Longstaff came to Fort Carson. Had been manager of the USACAT team and all that. I was competing most years when I wasn't deployed with, here at the competition. So I was always going to it. I wasn't doing particularly good, but I went every year. Somebody gave him my name, and he came and found me. And it was him who taught me how to really, really compete. And right off the bat, he would say, first off, he was like, "None of this fake stuff. We're really going to cook. Once we get you to where we think this product is gold, that begins your 10 run-throughs, and then you'll be ready." And he was right. The first gold medal that I got in a live competition, when I was done, I thought, that was way too easy. There's no way I got a medal. And then I found out I got a gold. If you practice where you got to be to get a gold, it's easy. All the work is ahead of time. Joint Culinary Training Exercise, this huge military culinary competition. We have competitors from all branches of service. Here we have 3 allied nations, France and Germany. The British Army team, they are competing in every single event. I've gone full circle with this event. I was a detail soldier. This year, I am the full show chair.
That's his passion. And teaching people he loves to teach.
So that's why I'm so passionate about it, is because that's me not quitting. That's why I'm there 18 hours a day sometimes.
Even when he is home, he's not home. Even when I've got Guy, he's still, half his head is still at work.
And so I take it very, very seriously. Everything from start to finish. I want this to be a life-changing experience for these kids. Because that's what you got to do. You got to give these kids some heroes. That's what I had when I was young, is I had heroes. And that's what I want to give to them. I want to give them all that same stuff. And just cultivate this atmosphere of teamwork and esprit de corps and professionalism and pride in occupation. And I want to put them on a different path, like what was done for me. Everything I've done has been about feeding soldiers. To make sure they get good food is just crazy important. A great chef is going to feed soldiers better in the field, because that's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do.
He'll do good in life knowing that I've got his back.
It's a treasure to know someone's got your back. So I always try to have first.
Yeah, I appreciate him more than he knows.
Who am I, though? I'm just a cook. That's who I am. Just a cook.